Steve coming in. Well, we're going live now. This is Redistricting Advisory Commission work session for 10/29/2021 at 2 o'clock.
Good afternoon, Mark.
Afternoon. Looks like we have a quorum. Missing a few, so we'll just give it a few, I guess. I feel like we're seeing so much of each other these days.
Next thing you know, we'll be all invited to Thanksgiving. Hey, this is a group I wouldn't mind hanging out with. I've enjoyed this. It's been, great debate, discussion, and very friendly conversation. I've enjoyed it.
Likewise. Since we're meeting during business hours, Steve is able to join us. Welcome, Steve.
Hello.
Have we heard any regrets on today's meeting?
I have not.
Okay.
This is Bob. Are y'all hearing me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, sound good, Bob.
Okay.
Well, it looks like the only person we're missing is Ruben Garza.
And Michelle.
Michelle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Michelle. I wonder if she's still suffering from the food poisoning she encountered.
Oh, Ruben, I think said he wasn't going to be here. It's what he said last night, that he was on his way to Waco or something.
Okay.
So he said he's going to try to do it in his car as he's driving up, but that's, depends on if he gets the right cell towers, I suspect.
Yeah, we don't want him distracted.
Yeah.
Well, we can keep an eye out for Michelle just in case she's not attending today. Would you all like to go ahead and start, or would you prefer to wait?
No, let's go ahead and start.
Okay. Well, welcome. I threw together an agenda today, but kept it general and included a fifth item on the agenda that basically gives you all the ability to raise any issues you want. Because I don't want to limit you in any way, but I do want to try to provide some framework for discussion. And last night at our last community meeting, we were talking about what's next, and I think we imagined a few things being done. I don't want to guide you too much in that regard if you want to go a different direction, but we have 2 court dates upcoming that we can either do something at or not. I guess one of them we must. We are publishing notice this weekend in the Daily Record that we will be having a public hearing on November 9th. The Commissioner's Court will be, the county will be. And some action is contemplated to be taken at that November 9th meeting. So that's our end goal. And you have November 2nd as well, which is next Tuesday, at which public can come and comment whether there's an item on or not. But if you desired it, we could have an item where you give a presentation with your proposed maps. I know you all are volunteering and have day jobs and all of that and other responsibilities. I think it's probably just as effective, considering that we have our website and everything up there or going up there, for you all to assume they're seeing it, but also we could provide it to court members by email. I think transparency is still accommodated with the website and the community meetings we've had. So I'm not too worried about you necessarily presenting on November 2nd, but you can if you want. Any thoughts on that? You're muted, Dr. Trahan, if you're trying to talk.
I'm sorry.
I'm okay with presenting. If the committee agrees to that, that's fine with me if that's desired.
I'm open either way from our standpoint as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see us present on the 2nd with the
Okay.
anticipation of them taking action on the 9th.
You bet. Well, I'll be sure it's convenient. Janice is next room over and is responsible for the agenda. So I'll have her include a presentation from the RAC on next week's meeting. So let's see here. Let me share my screen with you.
Hey, Mark, when you, before we go there, can you kind of guide us on about what time the presentation would be? Because I can be there, but I just can't be there from
All day?
all
You don't want
day.
to spend all day with us?
Yes.
Yeah, so
That'd be great.
presentations usually happen after the formalities of the day. So we'll have an opening prayer and pledges. And then there could be some other presentations or resolutions, declarations of court that are mixed in there, but it would be pretty close to the 9 o'clock hour. I'd say as early as 10 after 9, 9:15, there would be a presentation time. So
Okay.
pretty quickly. And I think, normally when we see a crowd gathering for an item, we try to call the item up, even if it's out of order. I suspect we'll attract a few people for next week on this one. So.
Mark, will that presentation it won't be necessarily limited in time, like a 3-minute comment or something like that? We'll have actually time to.
No, you all are appointed by the court. I think there's some expectation that you might come back and present to the court, and they may have questions to ask you. It could extend for quite a while. I think the way they built the charter should indicate to you that they would like Dr. Trahan and Bob Parks to present more or less together. I'm not saying that you have to sing Kumbaya and say you agree on everything, but you'd sort of be up at the podium at the same time, roughly, and maybe taking turns. There may be questions for both of you intermittently back and forth. So I would probably just keep yourselves available up front. I assume as co-chairs, you'd probably be presenting the RAC's proposed maps and issues. And that's not to say that any one of the rest of you couldn't get up and speak as well. Oh, I see Dr. Lopez trying to join. Get her on. Dr. Lopez, welcome. I'm sorry if you were waiting. I was talking and hadn't seen you in the queue. So
That's okay. Thanks.
yeah, we were just talking about the group has indicated that it would desire an opportunity to give a little presentation next Tuesday on the 2nd in court. That would happen pretty early, 9:15 or so in the morning on Tuesday, the 2nd. And so same for you as for any other commission member. If you're available to attend, that would be great. If you're not, then you could watch it remotely. And we could even arrange for folks that aren't able to be there in person to attend remotely as well, although I'll just go ahead and give you fair warning that sometimes the sound doesn't work very well for people who are attending by Teams. So better in person if you can make it. So that's sort of the review of our timeline. Let me pull up the agenda here. By the way, Bob Bass sent his regrets. He's in another county. He said that he has received some modifications to maps. Dr. Trahan, I think he mentioned your name and when he corresponded with me. I suspect that you may be sending some things to Bob. Perhaps Bob Parks or Steve Meyer may be sending some stuff as well. I don't know if there's active work going on the maps still on both sides or on one side. I think he'll probably get to it over the weekend. And so if you're looking for immediate feedback from him, I don't know that you'll get it today. I spoke to his staff at his office and they said he was back-to-back meetings all day today. So, so I think we've sort of reviewed timeline already. Does anyone else have any timeline issues you want to raise right now? Good. What about further discussion on the proposed maps? I think we've talked about them quite a bit. Does anyone want to? What I had suggested to Shannon last night when she and I were chatting is that when you present next week, you could bother to isolate the issues for the court. I mean, I think they'll probably see that by looking at the maps, but you could sort of include what I had in mind was perhaps you would include areas that you consider there to be still genuine disagreement on. And I think we probably have a couple of key areas in the county that still would meet that definition. But then I think you have some areas that might be good tools to use. There's a difference on the maps, but no one is that fired up about it. I'm thinking about that far western precinct that is currently, let me get the box number wrong, but I think it may be 420. Is that right? It's Steve, on your map, it was included, and I believe on Dr. Trahan's map, it was not. It's the one that sort of juts up on
440.
the west side. 440. Okay. Yeah. So let me use that as a kind of a talking point. I don't think anyone's overly concerned about 440. It may be simply a tool that could be used to balance populations if adjustments are made and things need balancing. But I'm also fine staying silent on that and letting the maps speak for themselves. What do y'all think about trying to color the picture a little bit more for the court members? Any ideas?
Well, as I said,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as I said last night, Mark, that the issue is, although that particular precinct isn't significant in and of itself, but it's the whole thing is like a game of whack-a-mole. So if you pull out one area, then something else is going to pop up someplace else, and it's trying to make that balance. So that's really the issue at the end of the day, as far as I see it.
Yeah, you really can't just single out 440 because it's not a matter of shifting it one way or another. There's other pieces that have to be moved as part of the puzzle. It's just they're so small on the scale, you don't necessarily notice them as obviously. 440 happens to be a huge precinct.
Yep.
So,
Well,
I don't know how, I have not participated in Hayes County discussions in the past. The other two I have participated in Colorado. Typically, the commissioners like the presentation, and then they will pose the questions that they feel that need to be answered, since they're ultimately the ones who are going to be making the decisions. It's their level of information rather than ours that is needs to be addressed.
You bet. So a presentation on the maps, and then they can Q&A after, and no need to color the picture any further from there, right?
Yeah, I think it's best. It's probably the best use of their time too, as well as ours, obviously. The best use of their time is too.
Okay. Ken?
Yeah, and they've all had a chance to look at it, so they understand what the maps are. So.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine with me too. I'm fine with doing it that way.
Okay. Any additional commentary on maps before we move on? I'm not trying to move us along too quickly. We can spend as long as y'all want.
Not so much necessarily related to the maps in particular, but I'm just curious what we might be doing with reference to the comments related to the maps that we've received. And if that'll be a part of just sharing we've received these, any general themes or what we're thinking we might present.
Yeah, so, well, it might be nice to recite what we've done so far with that. We have included on the web page a comment or two, which we received a couple of kind of categories of comments several times. And so we've tried to say on the web page, the county received comments regarding, and you'll see that reflected on there if you go to the website. We've also scanned all of the emails and all of the paper comments that we've received through the third community meeting to you all. You should have received it. And if you haven't, you may check your spam box. Ken's giving me a thumbs up. So there's that. So we're trying to kind of capture it in a more general form on the website. You all have every single comment received. If it was I like M3 or I like SM2, we did not include some tally of this is, I didn't think it was really appropriate to try to include a tally of who likes what map. We've gotten comments from folks that like all of the proposed maps and perhaps none of them, I don't know. But I didn't really think that we should try to capture that. You can see it reflected in the comments that were sent to you. We have not sent the comments from last night yet that I know of, but we will do that today. And I believe we only received 2 last night. It was less than the other community meetings. So now, Dr. Lopez, were you wanting to do something else with that besides what we've already done?
No, I didn't know if any of that general themes would also just be a part of, or anything that would be included with the report out on Tuesday. That was, I didn't know if we were doing anything about that to share. But other than that, I think it's great that it's on the site, and I did receive those first 3. So thank you for doing that.
I think when we put it together for you all and send the last batch of 2, then we can simply forward that on to the court members so that they can read through them if they see fit. And that's, if they don't read them, then they can look at the synopsis on the webpage.
Well, question, Mark, I will pose this question to you and to the entire RAC. Should we take the time and try to maybe have one more meeting before Tuesday to all review those comments and emails and everything, and then come together and just say at least that we've discussed them, and that if there are any issues that any of us identify that we felt need to be brought up, should be done so that if the process is questioned as to what about public input, did you receive it, did you discuss it, was it part of the advisory process? I'm just curious if we really need to be a part of that, or you feel like it's more directed towards the commissioners.
Well, I think it's important that you all read them. I'm not sure deliberation about them will yield much.
Let me chime in here if I may. The purpose of this meeting that we're having right now is to discuss basically any of those issues. And of the 2 comments that we received last night, I don't think there was anything particularly earth-shattering in those comments that I remember.
It was, I like this map, I like that map.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
And, we've all had a chance to look at those comments. And I think, having been in some other similar situations before, when we give our RAC report on Tuesday, that report should be limited to the RAC commission making their comments to Commissioners Court. And beyond that, if commissioners want to hear other comments in the open report time for citizens, that would be more appropriate. And I wouldn't really want to confuse our RAC commission report to the commissioners with involving, just kind of open debate on this subject. It's my feeling.
And on the other hand, and I understand that, but I also agree with Steve that I think we owe an obligation to the public to say that we've read them and understood them and considered those positions when we've done our drafting. And then we make that available to certainly the court will be responsible for reading those as well as part of their deliberative process. That's their call. But we need to all have at least read those and make sure that we understand them.
Well, I agree with that, and that's why those things have been posted on the website. Is that not right, Mark? They've been up there?
And just to be sure that I don't want anyone to believe that we have hidden the ball on one comment or another, and that's why we forwarded them all to you as they were written and haven't tried to sort of paraphrase or capture them in some other way. And we have done that for efficiency on the website, but I think the court members, I think all of the court members will read those comments before Tuesday. You may get, and I think some of those comments you also got verbally at the community meetings from people who cornered you and talked to you about things. And you may get a lot of questions from the court members about what that experience was like at those meetings and what feedback you think you got. I think that's very much part of it. That's why we had those meetings in the first place. So.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to go into too much depth with it and everything. I think it'd be good if we would all just review them, and if there's anything that stands out we feel like should be brought to attention, maybe start an email chain and decide if we need to meet again and do it. But that way we can at least tell the commissioners we've reviewed all the comments, and nothing stood out that we felt required attention, because the public comments are a part of the whole public process we went through, which was part of our charter. And so I feel to a certain extent they are kind of tangentially at least connected from that standpoint. They were part of the public process. And I want to make sure that, even if we say, the biggest complaint was no roads on the map. Well, that was just a, publishing or a printing type condition that we couldn't help. We could at least say we did review them and there was nothing in there that brought, that needed attention, we felt, or rose to the level of the RAC debating it.
Or it did need attention and each map addressed that.
And I think that's kind of where my initial question was. So I appreciate the conversation. I know there may be people who are just a little skeptical about the process. And I just want to ensure that what they were able to contribute by coming or speaking or sharing comments, at least we acknowledge that, yes, we have received them. Yes, we have read them. And we've considered if there's anything that needs to be included in our deliberations as we make the recommendation.
I would suggest that comment be made independently and jointly by the co-chairs at the opening of that meeting. And I would certainly be prepared to make that statement that we have reviewed public comments and have made them all available for scrutiny and so forth, and that I'm perfectly willing to make recommendations to the commissioners and say that we have included that public comment thinking. Mark Trahan, would you be willing to join me in that?
That's fine. We can make that statement. I think it's important to make the statement so that the public knows we have reviewed those comments. So I would agree that that's adequate. Are those comments going to end up getting posted, Mark?
We were not planning on posting all of them verbatim on the website. They are available for public information request. If someone wants them, they can ask for them and we'll provide. They'll be unredacted. There's, I think, a few of them where people put their home addresses down, and I think we would maybe redact that if we put it out in the public stream. But other than that, we probably wouldn't redact anything from it. So.
Yeah, we definitely want to be careful with PII.
All right, well, we've sort of moseyed through the agenda and maybe bled together a couple of items. We've talked about proposed maps and we've talked about the specific information we would relay to the court. Do we have, and again, our other meetings have been much longer than this. I feel like we're obligated to stay on here for at least another 45 minutes.
Well, Bob's not here to fill the void.
All right. Do we have anything else we want to cover? Oh, Ken
Well,
says,
out of curiosity, are we going to be able to, are we exchanging each other's final maps before the meeting, or it's just going to be there, or are they going to be blown up and printed so that the public can see them at the November 2nd meeting?
Steve, Floyd, how long do you need to, if we had an adjusted map, how long would you need to put one in large format? Monday be okay?
Monday should be okay.
Well, can we say noon Monday would be sort of a cutoff for trying to get something printed? That'd be okay with everybody?
Yeah, that'd be safe.
All right. So
I can
With me.
Ours hasn't changed, and I've already got it up as map viewer because I've had people request it and I've shared it, and so I can give you a map viewer link for ArcGIS. So it's ready to go for zoom down to street level.
Well, Steve, if you could provide that to the other Steve, if you haven't already, then he may be able to do some street overlays on it and print one more version that's a
Well,
little more?
mine's actually using OpenStreetMap as the baseline, so it's got all the streets and
Okay,
everything
good.
on it. It's got geographical markers and streets and everything like that. So, I mean, the
Okay.
airports, the universities, et cetera. So, I think, you know, I mean, the people have looked at mine and said, yeah, that gave them the information they were looking for by being able to go down and look at their house if they wanted.
Then if you could simply provide that for large format printing, we'll get one more done.
I'll tell you what, I'll just throw it in the chat in here so everybody has it.
Okay. And then, Dr. Trahan, I know you were, I think, adjusting perhaps some boxes or partial boxes on M8.
Yeah, we've got a revision based on public input. So we're going to make that revision and submit it. And I'm not, the PDF that I have now is kind of the same quality as the previous PDF that we submitted. So if we need to do a higher resolution, I may need to ask you, Steve Floyd, if you're able to help us with that.
Yeah, since that map was created in ArcGIS, if somebody can just send me the data, then I can lay that behind our road file so everybody can see all the details they want to see on the roads.
Sounds good. I'll send that to you. Thank you.
And the same goes with the other map. If y'all want to see better details on what roads are included in which precincts, if I can get the data, the geography that composes those commissioner precincts. And I say that because I don't want to be potentially misinterpreting any information on a PDF file. If I can get the geography that goes with that, I can put that on a large format map with all the roads. And
well, Steve, I used the base map. I've used the base map you provided, and then just color coded the precincts to meet the VTDs that we were doing. So you have all the data for that. It is your data.
Okay, so that list of VTDs that I got before is the same information.
Yes, sir. Should
Okay.
be. I will resend it just to make sure, but it should be the same that you got before. And yeah, and I used the counties as the base and just put it into my own ArcGIS account and then modified it from there.
Okay. All right, I can do that.
Mark Trahan, you said you're going to change your map a little bit. Can you just kind of talk about that? Just kind of tell us what your changes are.
Yes, I can. In fact, what I can do is send you an email copy of the new map. How about that? Yeah.
With that copy, can you send the VTDs specifically on
Sure.
by commissioner precinct so we can look at that a little closer? Because some of the, the zoom in don't work quite enough to get the detail.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
All righty.
And everybody, if you look in your chat, my link is in there so you can access it.
Steve, could you email it? I'm on my phone and I'm trying to get it, but it keeps telling me there's an error when it goes to the website. So it just might be on my phone piece.
I'll be glad
I'd
to do so.
appreciate it.
I'll be glad to do so, Michelle. I got your email address.
Thank you.
And then these will be posted on the RAC website next week.
Yes, as soon as Steve can get something over to Kim Hilsenbeck, she'll post it on the website as either a modified of what's already on there or as something new. I think M8 we would call modified M8 is not on there right now, so we would post that as new, I believe. Steve, I was able to open on mine, so I think Dr. Lopez is probably just having trouble with her phone.
Thank you. It's probably just a phone issue.
So any additional items to bring up today that folks want to cover?
Are we going to keep the same map names from what I threw up and mounted, or is there going to be a different name for one of them?
I think we have SM2 and M8 right now, but Dr. Trahan, do you want to call it something besides that?
How about M9?
Okay, it's been adjusted enough to call it new.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be publishing SM2 and M9. Steve.
If that's all, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Can I ask one quick clarifying question, just to make sure I understand for Tuesday? Do you know if where on the agenda we will be, if it starts at 9:15?
Yeah, I think I covered that right before you hopped on. I was
I'm
probably
sorry.
covering that while I was ignoring you in the queue, I think.
It's okay.
So the court starts at 9 with some formalities. We have a prayer and both pledges. And then we have presentations and resolutions of court. That will fall in that category of item, but we might have some other resolutions that hop in front of it. Sometimes we have photo ops and whatnot that get mixed in there. So it'll happen at or about, 10 after 9 or so, but there might be another item or two in front of it. It'll be pretty quick.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Can we bring you our parking tickets if we're beyond 2 hours?
If you come to park at the courthouse, park on the interior of the square and not the exterior of the square. And we do not police the interior on Commissioners Court days. So. All right. Anybody else? All right. Well, then we will see you all on Tuesday. And if you have anything in the meantime, maps, email Steve Floyd, legal issues or queries, you can email Bob and me or Bob, and we'll try to get you answered. All right. You'll have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.